All right, so for sprint one, going over what we did last quarter, my math tool now does the work because before I had the B spheres doing the work, now the math tool actually does it by itself. Um, my so duplication test, I actually forgot to ask you if you were meaning when these two tanks touch each other because they're doing self pair. So if I go and do this again, um, if I go and do this again, they go and actually touch each other like they're supposed to. And this is all for the collidable system. On my visualizer, I'm basically going to say it's still not using commands because at the moment it is using it, but it's using it inefficiently. So, and I'm hating this right now because I'm having a command for uh, pair and self coming into the visualizer. So if I have three tanks, I have six commands. So there's two spheres overlapping on each object. So I'm doing this so then I know whether or not there's actually a collision or not. So then the one that's saying the collision is true is showing instead of the non-collision. So I'm just going to say basically it's not working because I need to still work on it. My sprites, I'm done with doing the sprite factory. So now the sprites are set up like so. So you make a new sprite and then you delete it. And when you delete it, it deletes the graphic object of the sprite and these commands for show and hide, which are to show and hide the sprite. So basically for the show and hide, I have them in there because uh, inside like the player HUD, you're always drawing them to render, but depending on if they're hiding or showing, the hide is basically just like our scene null, so it doesn't do anything, but then show will actually render it to the screen. So if I go and show you this really quick, F12, and it'll do the render sprite for the execute. So we go sprite, go in here, show, I'll end up doing the render sprite, which is right here, like I said. And it'll set the world. So you can even, while it's hiding, you can set its all the values needed, but it won't actually set the world until you render it. So then it's only setting the world once every frame once it's showing. And then for the game demo, I now have a display at the bottom for a bullet. So right now I can shoot a bullet. So if I shoot it, I'll blacken out. So that means that it is uh, green one is now showing. Now it's hiding, and now the black bullet's showing. And then the black bullet will hide when the green one's showing. And I also have these tanks doing random movements, and they actually have enemy bullets that can hit me. And then I'm still going through my friendships because I realized that there's actually a good ton that I didn't realize were there, so I have to go and fix some of them. And my question for you, since you're here, I have an asset manager, but I need to set my image manager attorney for my asset manager, so I need to do all those also. Um, for my um, for my research for the replay system, at the moment I'm leaning towards doing the save state, depending on how time goes, because the save state, I just save everything and then just replay depending on all the save storage. So doing a save state, it'll take a lot more memory because we're basically saving every single variable and state every frame. But it'll make sure that I have everything synced correctly. And I could, at the end, mix it so then I can do save states every so much time. But the thing I also have to look at too is how I'm going to set up the inputs because now the input has to go through a another layer before it actually reaches the object because it has to be recorded before it goes through. And then if anything random happens, like if you have a random number that happens inside the game, it has to be taken out before it's recorded. So then when it's recorded, that number can be saved and used again for the replay. And certain things like the camera's technically random, so that doesn't really matter. Sounds, we don't have any particles, or I don't have any particles. Um, Everything else we have is basically fine that are what's called a deterministic, including like the alarms, collisions. I just have to make sure that for our engine that uh, the time is completely separate from the delta time is completely separate from the frames in our engine. Even if like deep down, if there's something that just doesn't like the engine CPP. And basically, I have to go and have a recording module for everything in the scene. So then when any input goes through the recorder, and then when I want to replay it, instead of recording that information is going to be sent down. And then the question is also whether or not I want to go and put it into a file and save that file like a text file, and then be able to read a text file and have it replay. There's still, I want to do a lot more research before giving a confirmed answer. If this is what I want to do, hopefully I'll have a better answer by Tuesday or next Thursday.